Jimmy Dore went on Fox News on Tucker Carlson's show, and they spoke about war. So this is interesting. I almost feel like I'm watching this clip in the Twilight Zone. Look at what Jimmy says.
Tonight, there are ominous signs that the military is openly defying our system of civilian control. Today, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, broke with the White House's plan to lower troop levels in Afghanistan to 2,500. That's a plan that both the public and common sense both demand. Milley said he's going to conduct his own rigorous analysis of the situation. Again, aren't civilians supposed to be in control of the military? Jimmy Dore has thoughts about this. He's the host of the Jimmy Dore Show, and we're happy to have him with us tonight. Jimmy, thanks so much for coming on. So I guess it doesn't, I hope that I'd be principled enough that if a president I despised, if Elizabeth Warren were president, that I would be as offended by this as I am now, because it's an attack on our system, a system that we should probably keep a pretty good hold on. What's your view of it?
Well, I think it's great that when a president orders a troop withdrawal, that's up for negotiation with anybody in the military. That's just sounds great. Maybe Mark Milley is one of these resistance grifters, and he's writing a book he's planning on selling to those resistance people. Now he stood up against Trump, trying to end a war, because that's what it seems like. Anybody just, and here's the weird thing, Donald Trump, you have to end some of these wars. You have to pull these troops home now.
Yes.
He's the commander-in-chief. There's no excuses. People are sick and tired of these wars, and he's got to take on the establishment, Tucker. That's what won him the election in 2016. In the primary, Trump was able to smash the Bush dynasty and the Republican status quo, and now he can't handle a few military war hawks and Mitch McConnell. I say he can. He promised. Why he got elected was he promised to give everybody health care and end those overseas wars and invest that money back home. Well, right now, President Trump, there are millions and millions of Americans who don't follow you on Twitter who are hurting, who needs a check right now. And take those troops home, give that money to the people. If Nancy Pelosi offers $1,200, you double it. Put your name on that check. People need help right now. You know how weak it looks that you're trying to position yourself as a victim to Nancy Pelosi? And take those troops home, take that money, get it in a stimulus check, give it to the people right now. The time is ticking. Now is, if he would have given us health care, he missed his moment. They're going to, whoever gives the American people health care, they're going to put on Mount Rushmore. He missed that. Now it's time to take those troops home and invest that money back here. Now, people are hurting. You tell the Senate, the GOP in the Senate, and Mitch McConnell to do their job and get a stimulus to the people, and he'll put his name on it. Whatever Nancy Pelosi offers, double it. That's what Trump would have done in 2016. He needs to do that now.
I just find it so hilarious. You're a lefty who I'm sure is not voting Trump, who's giving him better advice than almost any Senate Republican, any congressional Republican, any Republican in Washington. I think you're absolutely right. Jimmy Dore, thank you for that.
My pleasure. Anytime.
That really does feel like the Twilight Zone, man. It really does. So, first of all, let's get the obvious out of the way. Tucker's a fake populist, and what I mean by that is he'll use some arguments that sound populist, but ultimately all of that energy is redirected into supporting non-populist politicians. So that's what I mean when I say he's a fake populist. He'll give credit every now and then, to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders when they did that bill saying, hey, you can't charge more than 12% interest, the banks and the predatory payday lenders. And he'll give credit, but then he'll support all the people who are against that proposal and are against that legislation. And we see this all the time from him. His rhetoric will be okay on some issues, but then he'll back the people who don't follow through with those things and are against those things. And, of course, he has odious opinions on a lot of issues. So, anyway, that's the obvious. Let's get that out of the way. Now, I really am amazed watching that segment because... And Jimmy said, the reason I went on is because I actually wanted President Trump to hear me. And, everybody knows Trump is obsessed with Fox News. And he was prodding Trump to end the wars. He was prodding Trump to end the wars. He also said that bring the troops home, give the money to the people, give people a stimulus check, give people health care, Whoever gives the American people health care is going to be on Mount Rushmore. I think the reason Jimmy said that is because there was a story a few months back about how Trump wants to be on Mount Rushmore. And he was like asking about it. And so Jimmy found a way, okay, I'll say you'll be on Mount Rushmore if you give people health care. I see what he's trying to do. He's trying to, and this is like the whole reason that we're discussing this is very simple. There are a lot of people who object in principle to going on a show like Tucker's. But I really believe it's possible to do a lot of good by doing exactly what Jimmy is doing here, by doing what Glenn Greenwald did. Remember, Glenn Greenwald went on, and they strategically placed the segment towards the end when Tucker leads into Hannity. And the reason they did that is because they know every night Trump watches Hannity. And so, he'll probably catch the end of Tucker. Put him on at the end, and Greenwald was basically making an argument. You got to pardon Snowden, you got to pardon Assange. So in other words, basically using Tucker to try to get in Trump's ear to try to get him to do positive stuff. Listen, I'm sorry, you can't get mad at that. You could have an opinion of Tucker that's just like he's the worst ever. You can absolutely have that opinion, but you can also acknowledge and agree that what they're doing here is a hell of a lot better than not doing it, because you definitely get nothing accomplished if you don't go on. If you go on and you do get an audience with the president, you never know, man. I really do believe Trump is one of those guys who, it's whoever the last person in the room is that talks to him is the direction he goes in. I don't really think he has any core beliefs. So he's just like, yeah, whatever you guys say, if it sounds mildly convincing to me at this moment, I'll do it. Now, be careful, because the next person in the room might say the opposite, and then I'll go with them. But like, yes, it's worth a shot is the point. Now, I don't think there's any chance Trump is going to give everybody health care. It's not going to happen. But the stimulus check is definitely a possibility. And yes, bringing the troops home is definitely a possibility. But that brings me to my last point, which is, as of right now, he keeps saying like he wants to end it, but he doesn't, because it was 4,000 to 5,000 troops that he says will be there on Election Day. He could pull them all out before Election Day, or he could pull them all out in the lame duck. But he says he wants to keep 4,000 to 5,000 there. But he says that at the same time he says, this is withdrawal. That's not withdrawal. 4,000 or 5,000 troops there is 4,000 or 5,000 troops there. That's not withdrawal. You might be reducing it from 8,000 to 4,000, but there's still thousands of troops there. That's not withdrawal. So, in other words, he doesn't even really mean it, because Obama used to do the same thing where he said, we're going to get out, and then he wouldn't get out. So Trump's doing the same thing. But I'm happy that they're pressuring him to do this. I am happy about that. Again, you can say whatever the hell you want to say about Tucker. I get it. But this is better than not doing it. If it goes from a 100% chance Trump is not going to get the troops out, let's say, and now it's a 90% chance he's not going to get the troops out, well, that matters. That difference matters, and it could make all the difference. So anyway, I expect a lot of people to go after Jimmy for this. But again, listen, it's all about the substance of it. It's not like Jimmy went on to agree with Tucker that immigrants are horrendous. He didn't do that, because Jimmy doesn't believe that. He went on to try to prod Trump to get us out of the wars. Even though it's likely not to work, it is possible he could see it. So listen, I think you give credit where credit is due. I think he did a pretty good job here. And I have to say, I'm impressed, not necessarily by the war part of it, because I expect that. The part I was impressed with is that he managed to slip in the healthcare thing. Because that's one where I would even expect pushback from Tucker. Because I don't think Tucker's for universal healthcare. So for Jimmy to slip that in there, that's him saying, I'm going to try to go above and beyond so people don't give me shit. You know? Like, I'll try to get Trump to end the wars, but I'm also going to bring up the healthcare thing to even, like, poke Tucker a little bit. To let him know, like, I'm not gonna self-censor just because I'm on Fox. So anyway, credit to Jimmy. I hope it works. I know it probably won't, but hey, if there's any chance Trump watched that and it might influence him even a little bit, it's a positive.